You ready?
I'm ready.
I'll go ahead and start into this elaborate introduction you wrote for me. Reads more like an online dating. Claims he's the mayor of the best small beach town in the country. Let's give him a big round of applause for that. That's great.
Second best. Sorry. We'll take that polite.
We can do a vote off. All right. A little bit confusing in his bio. It says he's the mayor of the best small beach town, but he likes long walks on the beach. Well, I'm guessing you're going into other towns. His favorite movie is The Notebook. If you look at his Facebook page, invigorating. He posts pictures of old concert ticket stubs from ABBA, Wilson Phillips, and Barry Manilow. Yeah. There's really not a whole lot to say about him, good or bad. I will tell you this though. I had the opportunity a couple weeks ago to be with our mayor, and we celebrated the 96th birthday of a veteran in his community. And he pulled that community together for what I think is one of the longest drive-by parades we've done since they came into motion from COVID. And it was an honor to stand there, Mayor, and watch you recognize this gentleman for his service and everything he's done. So, welcome to the stage.
Okay, so you're lucky. This is, I wrote my speech as we sat here this morning. So the sheriff's right. I'll actually add that later on, but I'll start with that. It was actually 102nd birthday. World War II veteran, 5,000 hours of flight time. Retired lieutenant colonel, was actually in the Army and transitioned to the Air Force after it became the U.S. Air Force. We had the honor of leading this event, declaring it Bob Clark Day in the town, and it was emotional to watch this gentleman as we stood there and presented him, and probably one of the greatest days of my life, which actually led to one of my best compliments I've had in a long time. So we took pictures, and a friend of mine says to me, "He goes, Dave, you look really good." He goes, especially standing next to the sheriff. He goes, "You look like an Olympic athlete." Alright, so I'm actually a proud resident. My wife Kathy in the back of Brevard since 1983. We left Long Island and came down for an opportunity with Berkman down in Norfolk. And had the pleasure of serving Indialantic on council and committees since early 2000s and Marathon since 2008. I think I'm the third oldest serving John Carroll McDell, I believe. So that's kind of an honor. And I also want to correct Bart. It's not 50 cents an hour. I actually calculate my hourly rate. It's 27.4 cents an hour. And I'm proud of that. So Indialantic, we had a couple major changes aside from the COVID, which we'll talk about in a second. We got a Publix. So we had a prototype Publix, so a very small store. A lot of controversy as big changes come to a small town. But in the end, it's fantastic. So a small community, you got a store. We also got City Tropics, to John's Market, which is another beautiful place, and Starbucks. So 3 major changes last year during COVID, and they actually weathered through the changes pretty well and now thriving. And all the communities' concerns with speeding and new traffic really didn't come to fruition at those places. You know, we've seen other changes. And as people have seen the effects of COVID when people weren't traveling and the beaches were empty, it kind of brought back some memories of when I moved here. And I think they'll be felt a little bit the same. Our beaches were empty. They were beautiful. They were clean. There was no one on there. They were like when we moved here, and people have been here longer than me. So as it started getting more populated in the last few months, we saw the garbage come back, insane amounts of garbage, and people trashing. And the people that came out of the areas that have traveled, they just find it in their need to trash our beach, to trash our parking lots. So if you look on social media, you'll see a lot of concern of the rates that are going up in parking, and why you have the same problem. They've actually changed from free parking to paid parking, and we went from $0.25 an hour to like $1.50 an hour or so, like Coco does. And we've done it for one reason, is we had to hire more people to keep the beaches clean. So it's unfortunate for the locals there's no other way around it. People coming in and doing just disgusting things. We've also tried to take, we took two local, as big as that is, right? That's the stuff. We took two local streets and converted them into permit-only parking. So they're not Indialantic-only parking, but if you're a resident of anywhere, you can buy a parking pass, and you can park on one of these two streets, have about a dozen spots each. And they become more like, not private beaches, but they're locals. And most people in Brevard County, Melbourne, they're not coming to trash our beach, and it's a different environment there than you go to the main beach where the folks are coming from Orange County and Orlando, and you can tell, who's local, who's not, unfortunately. So that's been successful anyway. It was a little bit of concern originally, and Paul and Melbourne and such thought we were trying to keep people out, but I think it turned out okay in the end. As far as infrastructure, we spoke 2 years ago about pipes. We took a $5 million bond out to replace our 60-year-old steel pipes. We're almost done with that work. Over the last week with this tremendous rains, as I drove through the town, I didn't see any flooding. So we hopefully dodged the bullet. Hopefully we don't get a hurricane this year, but fixing those pipes was crucial because we were at the end of the life of these things. It's you pull these out of the ground and you want to see what 50 or 60 years of steel looks like. It wasn't pretty. Our Fifth Avenue median, we're about 2 years ago, we had grant money from the state. It comes in this year, next fiscal year, so you're going to start seeing Fifth Avenue change. We're taking everything out in the median. We're putting beautiful trees in, plants and shrubs, and we're hoping that will incentivize the businesses to do the same in front of their stores, which some are starting to do. So we want to make it attractive and come in. If you were here in the 80s, you used to cross the bridge and those beautiful pine trees, Australian pines were there and there. It was kind of like you're renting another area, but they were indigenous. They weren't good for the environment, so we took those out. So we're trying to make it beautiful to enter the town again and something special. We just, last week, we renewed our contract with Waste Management. We thank them for their stellar service. It was a no-brainer for us. We went through some, we actually didn't go through bid. We worked out and they gave us a very fair contract. And we're very happy with that service. Talked about Bob Clark. So long ago, one more thing, actually. Long Doggers, we're proud that we were the first Long Doggers of their 6 stores. They are celebrating their 24th anniversary. Their tickets go on sale on Tuesday. We're having a huge party on the 14th. Nance Park is closed. If you're a country music fan, on Tuesday when you see the band announced, you'll be impressed. It's going to be an amazing event. Hopefully you guys come to that. Now,